Waveshare just launched their new PocketTerm35, and it is a Cyberdeck powered by an entire Raspberry Pi 5 or a Raspberry Pi 4. Cyberdeck projects are just really cool, and on this channel we like to go over all different types of Cyberdecks, whether they're by companies like Carbon Computers or DIY builds that you can do with Waveshare, or, in this case, a Cyberdeck from Waveshare. We've gone over different Cyberdecks in the past, but this is kind of different, man. Now, Waveshare sent in this Cyberdeck for review, and I have taken it outside the case because I have yet to install the Pi in it, mostly because the prices of Pi are kind of insane, so I have to switch one Pi from another Pi to another Pi, just, because God forbid I would need to go out and grab another Pi. But the PocketTerm has an incredibly small, yet really crisp display, which I'm going to show you in a second. I've been looking at videos by different content creators such as ETA Prime, and I'm really excited for this. Because to me, this is one of the first Cyberdecks that's really heavily focused on running like a game emulator, for example. Throw a RetroPie on this and call it a day. But it's still a pocket terminal, which makes it live up to the name, and I'm kind of excited to boot it up with you. Let's get started. So this is what the inside looks like. I like how the layout is really easy to assemble together. You have double-sided tape right here, so we're gonna kind of just align that just like that. It does have an option to come with a 5,000 milliamp hour battery, and we'll get into the front face in a second. We stick the battery right there, and it's locked in place. You're gonna wanna put that little plastic spot right there, and it kinda just fits snug. You can lay your thumb over it just to make sure it comes out on the other side and make sure it extrudes. Now, I do have to admit there's a lot going on the inside of this guy. Not only does it have a built-in battery if you so choose, and you can kind of grab your own battery if you'd like, we've got two built-in speakers. Everything is wired up together with these ribbon cables right here, and with these adapters you want to make sure that the silver side is facing up, and on this side you want to make sure the silver side is facing up when we put it into these ribbon cable connectors. If you've never dealt with ribbon cable connectors before and you're really confused on kind of what to do, make sure this text is facing up, and that little arrow that's right there should be on the left side on the top of this HDMI cable. So if you want to lock your ribbon cable in right there, make sure that arrow is right here in this left-hand corner. Also, before you mount everything together, there's pogo pins right over here, and those are going to attach to the bottom of your Raspberry Pi. And you want to kind of bend this ribbon cable kind of just like down flat, and then line up all of the corner holes with everything. That way it sits flush with the adapter. Now you want to take all four mounting screws, but we kind of need to stop because I made a mistake right here. What we want to do is make sure all of the cables are tucked away underneath. So once we've made sure this ribbon cable connector is good, we're going to grab this 4-pin JST, and we're kind of going to hook it right underneath of the Pi where it runs directly down the middle. And the reason why we want to do that is because we don't want any of the wires facing out here in the corner. So we're going to grab that, move that over here to the side, make sure we have the ribbon cable fat and flush right over here. We're going to make sure that the pogo pins are touching properly, make sure all four holes are mounted without breaking any of the pogo pins, because these are pogo pins, and me personally, I've had bad experiences with them. And now that everything's lined up, we can grab our screwdriver. I have right here my trusty Raspad screwdriver from a previous build that is for some reason not being magnetic right now, and we're gonna take it now just like that. You don't want to turn on your PocketTerm just yet. And the reason why I say that is because, God forbid, you don't have anything aligned properly and it causes a short. So to avoid that, either don't plug in your battery just yet, or just don't have the device powered on. Now we're going to put in this last screw. I really do like the fact that they put a boot and reset button right here on the back. You also want to make sure those wires are out of that way in general, because that could cause the buttons to not be able to be pressed down on. Now that we've got everything mounted, we can move on to testing. But Finally, make sure that the speakers are properly all fitted inside their JSTs. So we got the battery connected, we've got the speakers connected, we have the power supply connected through the USB-C right over here. And it's a tight fit, don't get me wrong, but it's definitely in there. There's this bracket right here. One is made for the Pi 4, the other is made for the Pi 5. Just make sure you got the right one in its appropriate slot. And you'll know which one's right because only one of them will actually fit. The Pi 4 is slightly larger while the Pi 5 fits snug to the Pi 5. And in this case, we have a Pi 5. This bracket that kind of sits snug on top of the Ethernet and the USB ports, all you have to do is grab the two tiny screws that they provide and screw in both screws. So let's put this last one in right here. And make sure it sits flat and just drive it down in there. So when you're putting this thing together, you want to be very careful for that button right there. You kind of have to wrap the case around the button and then stick it in place. It is kind of tedious. I do want to just make that perfectly clear. Be very careful. Then make sure everything is flush, locked into place. Push it down and then screw down the holes. That's kind of like the only way everything comes together. I did put a little active cooler on the inside because this is a Pi 5. The battery life says it's pretty good, but right there it says reset due to low power event, which kind of concerns me. But I'm hoping that this is just you know, maybe because it's fresh out the box and maybe after I charge it. This sometimes happens when a Pi is in low power. Everything's working now, but I feel like it's worth mentioning that I have some thoughts. There's a couple of missed opportunities here. For one, this is the softest keyboard I have ever used, ever. I like clicky keys. That's just me, especially on a Cyberdeck. You could see other Cyberdecks that have clicky-ish keys or keys that at the very least have tactile switches. I'm not asking for mouse click switches here, but these are the softest keys I have ever used on a keyboard ever. And they are very small keys. So that, to me, is kind of a turnoff, but the size and how it fits in my hand, it's a solid win, man. If I could rate the touchscreen, it's a good 8 out of 10. But that's mostly because Linux doesn't usually play well with touchscreens. This one does. We're going to switch over to the top-down camera and show you as soon as this finishes loading. Now we have updated everything, and I do have to admit, it is a very, very smooth experience. We can navigate with the, well, let me deny that. We can navigate with the D-pad right over here. And what I'm going to be doing is cloning over the Iceman firmware and being able to use this Pocket Terminal as a Pocket Terminal for my Proxmark right here. And, well, you got the new Midwest Gadgets tri-band cards, which is low frequency, high frequency, and ultra high frequency. I'll be doing a video on this later. But what I'm saying is this is an amazing portable terminal for your Proxmark. Granted, this is with the Blue Shark module, so I don't technically have to have this wired up, but it's nice to have it. Let's say I wanted to use this wirelessly. This is not a bad setup. I do have to mention, I love these extra keys at the bottom. You've got tab, caps lock. This light comes on when you hit caps lock. I think that's just little features that I haven't seen on any other Cyberdeck. Usually you have to hit certain shortcut keys, but you have all of the keys as well as a dash and underscore, everything that you need to run a terminal straight from a Cyberdeck. I think that's some really thorough thinking. I also like that there's ports right here on the side. I like how that little hump hugs your hand if you're using it with, you know, let's say one hand. It's not really ideal, but it definitely does work. Also, I think this would be really amazing for gaming. I am not an avid gamer unless it's on a dedicated gaming device, let's say a Game Boy Micro, for example. But I can definitely see the potential. Also, I like how the battery light indicators right here on the top tell you how much battery life is left in the actual Cyberdeck. All right, all in all, what do I feel about this Cyberdeck? If I could rate it out of 10, it's a solid 8 out of 10. The display, crisp, reactive, and works really well on Raspberry Pi OS. And they put the config up for the public so you can edit everything to your liking. So I'll probably throw Kali on this or Parrot, see how that runs, because all in all, it's just Debian at the end of the day. Shouldn't really have any issues, especially with their wiki. actually being really, up to date as opposed to waiting a little bit. And I gotta give them credit on that. It was ready on launch. That's also really nice. The ports, you got the same ports of a Pi. I think that's some thorough thinking, because at the end of the day, a lot of people have Pis laying around, and the price of Pis being absolutely insane, this is a fun Pi project because it allows you to take your Pi in Cyberdeck form to go. Cyberdecks can be really fun and amazing educational tools, and with the RP2040 built inside running CircuitPython, this is a great opportunity for anybody to practice and sharpen their CircuitPy skills, as well as it running Raspberry Pi OS, so you could run Python on it at the end of the day just fine. I gotta thank Waveshare for sending this in. I will be playing around with this a lot more because I can definitely see myself daily carrying this, although the non-existent clickiness is gonna bother me just a little bit. Keyboard layout is amazing. They put all of the keys that typically people get mad for having to hit different shortcut keys to get to. And on top of shortcut keys, there's enough shortcut keys for you to emulate any game, run RetroPie, and man, it's a decent build and a really nice DIY project. If you're interested in seeing more videos like this and updates on how I feel about certain devices after I daily carry them, and give updates about different builds, microcontrollers, SBCs, and nice cool gadgets that are brought to you by the awesome developers within the community, consider subscribing to this channel because we go over all types of different stuff all the time, my guy. And we also have a podcast that comes out every Monday called the Blackwire Militia. And if you'd like to check out any of the channels of the awesome members down below, definitely give them a look because they go over even cooler stuff, man. I love your faces and thank you so much for the love and support. I really appreciate you guys. We'll see you next time.